Hey everyone, it's Joe Fox here, president at Growave. Today I'm chatting with one of my really good friends, Steph Lu. She's an absolute powerhouse in the e-commerce market. If you haven't heard of her or haven't heard of Levitate Foundry, I'm not sure what you're doing, but I'm going to pass on to Steph to give her own introduction.
Oh, you're too sweet. It's great to see you, man. It's been
Good
forever.
to see you.
Yeah. I
It
feel like
has.
just doing virtual these days. I don't think I've actually seen you in person in like over a year. Long.
It's been so long. I know we joked before jumping on about the
Yeah.
cartoon Where in the World is Carmen San Diego, and I feel like it's Where in the World is Steph Lu, but it's cool to see you. Where are you right now, actually, on that note?
Yeah, so right now I'm in the UAE. Just got here from Cape Town, which is in South Africa. And
Nice.
yeah, I'm spending a lot of time these days just sort of throughout Europe and Africa. My boyfriend and I, we actually love being in Africa. It's a great, beautiful place, beautiful land, nature. And
Absolutely.
yeah, as of November of last year, I actually just decided to take some time to travel. I've been pretty much working for 16 years straight since I was like,
Yes.
I don't even know, 17, 18 years old. And yeah, I mean, you know what? The economy isn't doing super well. And I'm like, you know what? Like, now is a better time than ever to actually live life for a moment. So,
Absolutely. And I think the good thing from your side, Steph, is, you've got such a good, capable team at Levitate
yeah.
that you as a founder should be able to do those things and enjoy. And I'm sure I know that you may say that you're taking some time to travel, but I know that you've been meeting with merchants and doing lots of stuff over there as well. So
all
I know
over,
you too well.
all over. We got clients in South Africa now. We got clients in what is it called? Kenya. It's wild. I mean,
Okay.
everywhere I go, I just, seem to meet the people who own a brand or we're getting clients. We already previously had a lot of clients in Europe, but that is now expanding as well. And it's all come so synergetically, to be honest with you. I'm
It's
meeting
amazing.
founders, CEOs, just everywhere in the world. I mean, I went to go get a facial the other day, and the facial chain, they need help. Like, they need marketing, they need ads. They like, like the next day I met the CEO. Now we're discussing potentially working together. It's this easy, right?
Amazing.
Yeah, and you're absolutely right
Amazing.
on the team side of things because I didn't, I used to be, I mean, you know me, I'm very like type A, like everyone knows if Steph gets involved, it's going to get done, right? I'm very much like hustle. Let's make sure things are, cross your T's, dot your I's. I was very scared to, give up control of what was happening in an agency. In particular, this business is very much people driven and product driven and, product meaning the work output driven. And I think that for the longest time, I would like QA everything and be so involved. It wasn't until I actually took a step back that I realized, oh, like nobody needs me. Literally, nobody wants to hear from me. Nobody needs me. Everyone's got it covered. Everyone's got it covered, and everyone's doing fantastic. So I feel so grateful. I have an amazing team of like leaders at Levitate, all women now. My leadership team is all women, and they are so
Love that.
and they really have it handled, and I'm very surprised because I think a lot of agency founders, like, they think that they have to be a part of everything, especially when you get to like over 100 clients where things start to get very chaotic and you have a lot of employees and that gets chaotic and everyone's virtual. But I think if you get a really good system going and you start to build that up, then yeah, it's been actually really easy for me, so I'm very grateful.
I love that. I love that. And I've got a good compliment for Michelle actually, because a couple of my team members and I have been working with Michelle on some partnership stuff and
Yeah.
she's fantastic. So
Oh,
yeah,
thanks.
yeah. But good to see you. And I just want to like backtrack just a little because I know like we've been friends for quite a while now and we dove straight in there about where you're at now and what's currently happening. But I'd love for the audience, Steph, if you can just like recount the absolute powerhouse success story of Levitate, how you got started, what your main core sort of offerings are within the business, and also who is your ICP and what problems do you help them solve?
Oh, thanks so much. So we got started in a very different day and time. This is like 2019 when I started the company on my kitchen table. And prior to that, I'd had a very long career in basically doing omni-channel marketing for consumer companies. Like, I'd been at Sephora, I'd been at The Honest Company, I'd been at Facebook and Amazon before that. And then I had worked with probably a slew of like almost 100 startups. I'd done digital consulting as well at a couple e-commerce consulting firms, none that you would know of now because they all got acquired. This is back in the day. And I'd also started a few companies, all within the span of about 8 years, 8 or 9 years, I would say. So when I started Levitate, it was a very different time. I mean, now it's the day of like AI. It's the age of using, AI to do, and we use a lot of AI in our company as well. Back in the day, obviously, it was just a very different time when there was a lot of VC funding and there was a lot of brands, a lot of omni-channel brands with a focus on D2C back in the day. So it was not hard at all. To this day, we've barely spent any money on ad spend. I think we only spent money in 2022 running ads because one of our partners, I can't remember if it was like Recharge or one of our amazing partners asked us to run ad spend. So we tested it. But outside of that, we have literally never run a single ad. It's all been through word of
I
mouth.
love that.
We've worked with over 400 brands. We get a lot of leads from great partners like yourself, and other partners. We're the largest female-founded Shopify agency as of 2022. We are Klaviyo Platinum. I mean, we work with everyone in the Shopify ecosystem. As of last year, we're also now coding on Magento, Demandware, BigCommerce, and we also now do PIM work as well. We have a really,
Okay.
really, really solid Shopify team. So our ethos from the beginning has always been combine the best performance marketing strategy and execution with best in class design. Throughout
Yep.
my career, I would say decade long career working at companies like, Sephora.com and companies like Honest. And, I was at True Botanicals for a little bit. D2C brand wise, like it's really back in the day, it was really hard to find a really good design agency that knew data and performance. Now
Yes.
there's a ton, right? So the company was built on that ethos in 2019. And I think in our first year, we worked with like 50 or 60 companies. And since then, it's
Yep.
been on the up and up. And now we work with global companies. I would say we have a lot of clients in Europe. We have a lot of clients, obviously, still in the US, but even Australia. Now we're opening up South Africa, which is awesome. There's just amazing brands everywhere. And a lot of brands in other parts of the world and other continents, they want to come to America. And they see Levitate as a leader in helping them to do that because of our experience growing and scaling brands here. And then we've also worked with a lot of, I would say, VC-backed startups, including celebrity startups. We probably worked with more celebrity brands than like any of the other agencies over the last 6 years. So, Drake, LeBron. We've worked with Pamela Anderson. We're, going to be launching a site for her. And then I can't even think right now. So many celebrities. Justin Bieber in 2019. There's been so many celebrities that we've worked with. And so that's also like really fun and interesting, I think, for overseas brands. At the end of last year, we also started doing events in PR and influencer.
Yep.
So
Yep.
yeah, so we rolled those services in through a pre-existing agency. So we also offer that as well now. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. And I think, I mean, it it makes so much sense for what you guys do at Levitate to offer that as an extension, right? Because it's like everything you do, I think, from a part like as a partner, seeing what you guys do and execute on incredibly well, I think is like when these celebrities that you mentioned, obviously, big Drake fan, all of that, but like when you see these celebrities that come to Levitate and say, this is the product, this is what I want to do, and then you guys really get in and it's that design data execution piece that just launches these brands into powerhouse brands.
Yeah.
And I think, particularly on the Nocta one with Drake, like the way that you guys built that and rolled that out is, that's the one I paid the most attention to selfishly. But seeing how that was executed and seeing what that brand has became and all of the other ones you do like Drew House and everything, it's just fascinating to me to watch that. So I think that PR events is an amazing extension to that. So
Yeah.
congratulations on that. And
Influencers.
congratulations on the whole career, to be honest, because you know I think in this day and age, like, and what you've been able to achieve, and 2019 isn't that like long ago, and the way that you've grown and built this, and the amazing team you have, and the all amazing women in business doing great things. So all power to you. I love to see it.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
So let's kind of talk now. You touched on a couple of little things. I just want to dive in a little bit around the current sort of landscape in e-com. I know as we're sitting here talking now, it's towards the end of April. We've had all this up and down, particularly, in ecom, really, in a global market. All of this stuff about tariffs. There's a lot of people, pausing things, stressing about things, all of those sorts of things. And I think in these times, people typically, it's similar to what happened, I think, at the start of COVID, where people were so scared they weren't doing things, they stopped moving forward. Whereas the opposite and the inverse was true. The brands that really dug in and said, hey, this is a boom time in e-commerce, um, did incredibly well. And the ones who didn't, unfortunately, a lot of them didn't survive. So, what are some things, Steph, that you and the Levitate team are seeing happen in the market? What do you think people should be doing in this particular market at this particular time?
Yeah, I think the market has changed so much over the last few years, and funding has changed. Well, first of all, let's talk about the macroeconomic market. It's completely changed. Inflation, you see the stock market today, you see the tariffs. I mean, I'm more worried about the brands and their costs, because that cost is
Mm,
transferred to someone, right?
yes.
And so
Yeah.
I think brands right now are in a really tough spot. Even if you're American made, or you're made in North America, wherever, like, you're not affected. You're still trying to probably cut your costs in some way. A lot of the brands that we work with, I would say, that are tier one, are either growth equity or already private equity owned, or have IPO'd. They may not, be huge on the market, but they've still IPO'd, and they're doing in the couple hundred millions. I've seen, like, all of them try to reduce, talent, fire. Like, I've had some clients fire all their agencies, move all the talent in house. Like, it's all been sort of a cost savings endeavor for most of these larger companies. I think, even brands that I would say that are just on the up and up, that are doing well, they're trying to, I would say, bring talent in house. So as an agency, I think it's really hard. As a business person, I think that makes a lot of sense. But as an agency owner, obviously that's really tough, especially when you do an amazing job and then the brand still has to kind of take everything in house, just for cost savings. But I think we're in for a tough ride here over the next year, to be honest with you. The smaller brands too, they're not really getting funded. There's a lot of money out there. It's a lot of dry powder, and I think good projects are obviously still getting funded. But it's really tough, right? It's a really tough time for the masses, I would say. And so for us, we're just keeping our head up high. It seems to me like every time we lose a client for whatever reason, I mean, lately it seems that they're just trying to cut costs. Honestly, lately it just seems like clients are really trying to take things in house. I had a client last week be like, listen, we have to, like, hire in house. We have to hire one person to do all of our media and creative. We want to save money. Like, the high retainer costs for an agency, like, that kind of model is kind of being thrown out the window right now. And they're like, we'll call you. You're going to be our first call, because we love you guys.
Yeah, yeah, no, absolutely. And I think you made some really good points there. I think, one thing that I, would counter to that and sort of stress to brands who are watching is, you may think that you're saving costs by bringing someone in-house, but I think utilizing agency is still going to be so much more effective. And maybe instead of just cutting your agency retainers and costs, maybe it's a matter of renegotiating or seeing if more can be done for less. Because I think, Levitate's a perfect example. You guys have so much talent across so many different areas within the business that it would be a shame for a brand to do that when they could be, because the skill set that they hire in one person isn't going to match the skill set of 30, 40 people. So I think that's one really important point. And one thing that we've been finding, Steph, to that point, and we really dug down on this because I think a lot of merchants are looking for more affordable tech stacks and to lower that tech stack cost. So one thing that we've done to be proactive about that, and I'll put the link in the show notes, is we've really focused on creating and showing the fact that you can switch from another provider to us, get more out of your tech stack, and still save. And so we created this really cool kind of like tech stack calculator where merchants and our agency partners can jump on, utilize it. They can plug in different things that the merchant may be using currently in that tech stack, and then compare it to how much money they would save by switching to Growave. And another thing that we've done to really make that quite cost effective is like we're doing things like, offering free migrations for our agency partners. So our agency partners aren't tapping into billable time to do that. And we're offering a lot of these merchants, we will handle all of your migration. We'll even do some design stuff, which typically isn't something that we would usually do, but we want to help out as much as we can by reducing that cost. So it's interesting you say that. I think, hearing it from the agency side, hearing it from the SaaS side, and seeing where those two, can play well nice together for the future.
I think merchants and companies in general still need agencies. Like we're doing more now in healthcare and
Yeah,
fintech than ever. We have some really amazing, I would say, fintech companies that are making a ton of money, and healthcare companies too that have hired us for lead acquisition, design, creative, content. And it's just kind of like our business is still growing, despite the fact that we're losing some really big consumer clients that, they're private equity owned. They have no choice but to take things in house. What their PE firm says, cut costs. It's either, the VP's head or the agency's head. Like, who's it going to be? So
yeah,
I've seen it really across the board. And also, it used to be that we worked with so many early stage VC backed companies, but they are a dime a dozen now. It's really hard, I think,
mm,
for brands
mm,
to even be VC backed. I mean, unless they were funded like last year or the year before, I haven't really seen
yeah,
new companies pop up this year. And usually I get introduced to them by word of mouth. There's been a lot of celebrity brands, I would say. So we are working right now undercover on a slew of celebrity brands that are launching in 2026.
nice,
You know
nice,
them, really great like actresses, singers, that sort of thing. And obviously they
nice.
got a ton of funding out of the gate, but I would say that's like pretty rare these days. Like you don't see another protein bar coming out that's been funded 5 million, right? There's not that many of
Mm,
them. We used to work on like so many of them, like all of them. Like they would come out and we
yes,
would have like done their branding or done their website or, but things are so different in the world these days. You just kind of have to adapt and pivot. We started using AI for our media buying. So being able to project like media buying spend based on past historicals using AI tools.
nice.
We're still learning how to best integrate AI into our creative, I would say, because we have a really high standard for creative, and a lot of the AI tools out there right now, they can do the AI, but it's not going to be your best on brand converting creative. So
Yeah,
we still do most of the creative by hand, I would say, with some integration. I would say static creative, super easy to do AI if it's like a billboard or if it's like a hero image. But as it relates to the storytelling and performance creative, we still do all our performance creative with our designers.
yeah, and I think that's important. I mean, like, it's interesting. I think AI, I utilize AI a lot for like strategic planning, for like just, accelerating and making the best use of my time. But I think what I've found is that, you're so right about the AI creative, because I see AI creative ads and I just it's too early for that. I think, the AI ads, they look a bit cartoonish. They sometimes have extra weird sort of things in the imagery and the videos, and it's like I don't think we're quite there yet. So I think also too, like when you have a very creative, like design-led team, so that creativity being injected into advertising is important because it's going to convert way better than AI will. So it's interesting to hear that. I think, when we'll certainly be having more conversations on here and all of those sorts of things. So I'm interested to see where that evolves in the future and everything as well. Um, okay, so I just wanted to ask, because the new markets thing is really interesting to me. Obviously, we have customers all over the globe, and there's some conversations we've had around that, around, Levitate tapping into some of our larger Asia Pacific merchants. But very curious, like Steph, because I have a lot of friends from like back home in Australia who've, immigrated and migrated from like Zimbabwe and Nigeria and all of those sorts of things. And I keep hearing a lot more, and you having just been in Africa and you're picking up merchants there. Do you feel that almost like Africa can almost like, obviously it has its own sort of economy, but are you finding that there's like a big e-commerce kind of like almost boom, or anything happening in that market? Like I constantly hear there's so many, cool Nigerian accelerator groups for startups, and there's obviously, some cool things happening there. So
Listen,
I'm curious to get your thoughts. Having
so
been on the ground there.
I've done a tour there. I've been on the ground. I've been to the countries, and I've been to the wealthiest South African cities as well. And I've met the people there. And we were very, very lucky to be greeted by a delegation in South Africa that introduced us to some of the celebrities there that actually have brands that
Nice.
want to blow up their brands. Now, the biggest problem, and if you go to Africa and you talk to anyone that's like had an agency there, started a business there, worked on a brand there, they'll tell you there's just not enough consumer power in all of Africa to power these brands. And it was one of the most enlightening realizations for me is that it's not a lack of entrepreneurship or celebrities wanting to start brands. It's a lack of consumers having the money to buy. To the purchasing
Mm,
power is
mm,
not there. And it's very much
yeah.
concentrated in certain, like Zimbabwe is a great country. There's pockets of wealth there. There's tons of, high net worths. But the reality is there's not enough on the entire sort of continent. um,
Yes.
and or like I think even in like South Africa, also South Africa alone, their entire venture capital like budget for the entire year is like 600 million because their population
Wow.
is so small, right? Their population is
Yeah.
a lot smaller. And so I learned about this stat actually through a friend of mine who's done a lot of work down there, and he's South African, and but it's very, very interesting because when you don't have enough funding to then fund because you don't have enough consumers to buy, it's not that there's so many great founders I've met down there, but it's really hard, and they all want to come to the States. They all want to take their products and have a warehouse in the States where they can blow up their products in the States. The other thing I would say is, it's interesting because in Africa, let's say Zanzibar, for example, they don't believe in protein powders, probiotic, prebiotic. They think it's like completely negative. And this
Wow.
is a
Okay.
cultural perception in a lot of parts in Africa, where it's just not a thing. Like because I went there and I was with a bunch of expats that are all entrepreneurs, like whether it's e-commerce in Europe or crypto, like very fast forward, like in like tech savvy. I don't know why I'm losing my word. Tech savvy people.
Yep.
And they always bring in their powders, from overseas, especially guys who like to work out. They're like, we want testosterone,
Yep.
we want, protein powders. And I'm like, why not just create it here, source it here, and, distribute through Africa? They're like, it's not even a thing. People here won't even buy it. They think it's like cheating. Yeah.
Wow.
Culturally not
Wow.
even a thing because as you know, it's such a lucrative market, right? Everyone wants to start
Hmm.
a probiotic, a prebiotic, some kind of like workout protein, whey powder, whatever. It's so easy to start that because it's so inexpensive. The
Yes.
reality is that, a lot of cultural differences, not enough, I would say, overall mass consumer purchasing power. So it's probably like people here have told me the juice is not worth the squeeze for you. Like if you get
Yep.
10,
Yep.
20, 30 clients here that actually are, big clients, great, right? But the rest of the clients you're going to get here are all multinational conglomerates. So if Nestle comes,
Yeah.
to Africa, maybe you work with Nestle, but those are all multinationals. The actual brands that are being built like organically, very few that are successful.
Wow, that's fascinating. But I feel like there's a real opportunity there for you then to take these amazing brands and then bring them to the US, right? Like
Uh,
that's what you guys do. So that's
mhm.
incredibly exciting.
Yeah.
Incredibly exciting.
Yep.
And I'm sure there's a ton of like innovation and just really creative, cool products and D2C there. So that's super exciting. Okay, cool. I know we're nearly at time, so there's a couple of things that I really want to sort of cover off with you, couple of last minute things. I'm gonna firstly, you're traveling a lot, you're, all over the world and all of those sorts of things. But what is one thing that you cannot live without? So when you're traveling, is there a book? Is it a notebook? What's one particular thing that Steph Lou cannot live without?
I can't remember that. Oh my gosh. Definitely Audible, I would say. I'm like reading a lot of cool books in Audible. I've had a lot of time here, which is great. And then just like your local like Pilates membership, I would say, to be honest
Yeah,
with you. And
yeah,
there are Pilates studios everywhere in the world. So I would say that's
I
probably,
love that.
yeah.
I love that. So it's as long as the mind and the
And
body,
a good workout
yeah,
and good fun. That's it. That's all you need.
love it,
And some good
love it.
water. Some good water.
Yeah,
We take water for granted in the US. We get water for free. Everywhere else in the world, you have to pay. Everywhere else in the world.
yeah,
You have to pay for water.
Yeah.
If I'm paying like $10 for water, I'm gonna get sparkling water because why am I?
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Water, books, and exercise. I love it. I love it. Okay, cool. And then lastly, is there anything you want to offer to your ICP merchants that are, likely going to be seeing this? Is there something that you want to offer on behalf of Levitate to those people? And you can caveat with T's and C's of like what size of business, etc. as well.
Yeah, no worries at all. So listen, we are here to help everyone. We're happy to always have an introductory consulting call, not with me, but with my team. And then happy to, for clients that are looking for better performance marketing, better creative, who want to switch, who really want to actually have a good team of people that do what they say and say what they do. That's us. Like, come over. We'll do
Yeah,
a free audit anytime. Like, no worries. You don't even need to be in our ICP. As defined as, your ideal customer profile. We don't really have an ideal customer profile. I mean, historically, we've worked with brands doing at least 10, 15 million a year. I'd say on average, our clients are about 30 million a year in revenue. The larger ones being over 200 million a year in revenue. We've really over the years strayed away from mom and pop brands, I would say, but now is the time to, it's a resurgence of them, right? So now is the time to start. Like, I
absolutely.
signed on a CBD brand. They're super awesome. We're doing like a one-time scope with them and that's all they can afford, but they're going to get some really quality work that's going to set the tone for the rest of the year for them in terms of what they do. So we're super, super happy to help. And with the economy kind of being what it is, we bend over backwards for our clients.
Absolutely. No, I love that. That's awesome. Very kind. And I think that's, as you said, that's a very good opportunity for these mom and pop shops and more startup brands to get the expertise from, Steph and Levitate that have taken these brands from zero up to that 200. So that's a really good opportunity, I think. So don't miss out on that one. We'll put a link to reach out to Levitate and everything in the show notes as well. And then, oh, sorry, did you have one more thing,
I was
Steph?
going to say also, I think one thing we're really focusing on right now is like helping brands that are big in other countries to come to the US. And I know you guys are based in Kazakhstan, right? So if you have any brands out there, those are, I would say, more interesting to me right now. There's so many great founders all over the world that want to access the US market. And we do things like setting up your 3PL, managing your 3PL, setting up your e-com in the US, getting your Amazon set up. Like, we can be your full stop shop in taking your brand from Africa or Kazakhstan or Tibet, not saying there is, but
Yeah,
to the US
yeah,
and like really
yeah.
helping you with that full service setup. Yeah.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think that's a very good point to note, everyone. So, and lastly, Steph, how can people reach you? Is there you want people to visit the website, LinkedIn? Where's the best people
Yeah,
for
absolutely.
best way for people to reach you?
So, just shoot me a note, Steph@levitatefoundry.com. Super easy. That's it. Email
Yep, yep.
Steph@levitatefoundry.com and you'll definitely hear from somebody on my team.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, thank you so much for coming on, Steph. I really appreciate it. I know you and Levitate have been big supporters of Growave since I kind of came on board. And yeah, it's awesome to see you traveling and thriving and all of those good things. And yeah, we appreciate the partnership, appreciate you coming on board, and look forward to chatting to you soon. I don't think it'll be in person. You'll probably be somewhere else across the world, or I will be. But thank you so much, Steph.
Thank
It's good to
you.
catch up.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate it.
Awesome. All right. Well, I'll see you
Cheers.
later. Okay.